Don't worry about him. I worry about my man. And I know that Conor Benn can win world titles in divisions below 160. He can sell out any arena in the country. He's one of the biggest, not just boxing stars in Britain, sports stars in Britain now.
But Conor's naturally fiery. Conor has that bit between his teeth. You know, he's his dad's son. His dad was as fiery as they come, and so was Conor. I think if Chris Eubank Jr. was placid and respectful, I think Conor would still be fiery.
These rematches with these types of intense fights taking place, like Conor and Eubank,
I'm trying to pull him.
a rematch right away will probably end their career. You know, it's that intense.
Do you see that fight happening? And do you think Ben won't get the better of Eubank?
I think Conor Benn beats Eubank.
Boxing experts are leaning toward Conor Benn dominating the sequel against Chris Eubank Jr., and their reasoning hits hard. Benn's youth and hunger give him an edge his rival lacks. He already shook Eubank Jr. in the first match with heavy shots that landed and rattled him with a refreshed frame and a mindset to finish what he started. Benn isn't just chasing redemption. He's chasing a knockout that proves
The terms are already agreed for the rematch with to move forward. And it's the same as the first contract in that respect. So I think we got it spot on with the numbers.
the rematch between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. is set for Saturday, the 15th of November, 2025 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London after Eubank Jr. secured a unanimous decision win in April. The bitter rivals will face off again in a night billed as unfinished business.
The Ring Magazine breaking. The Ring Magazine has learned Sella completed the deal for the highly anticipated Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn rematch on November 15th in Tottenham Stadium. The event will be presented as The Ring Unfinished Business. Not going to lie, they kind of did finish the business the first time around. I mean, Chris Eubank Jr. won, but it was a great fight. It was probably fight of the year or one of the fights of the year. What we've seen this year in 2025. But that being said, it was interesting and there was always supposed to be a rematch clause, so we're running it back. Also, the event will be promoted by Sella and sponsored by Riyadh Season and the Ring Magazine. Here is the article. First it was off, then on, then off again. Now the rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn is officially back on. The Ring has learned the deal to see them run it back from their April 26th showdown was completed through Sella on Tuesday. They will have approximately 3 months to prepare for their sequel to take place on November 15th.
Eubank Jr. has even brought in coach Brian McIntyre, who guided Terence Crawford to fine-tune his game plan and turn a good victory into a statement one. Brian insists that Eubank Jr. will be significantly sharper this time. McIntyre says bringing his killer instinct mindset and refined game plan will give Chris the upper hand. He pointed out that Eubank already got Benn's number in their first meeting, and this time the preparation will make the fight a little bit easier. McIntyre praised Eubank Jr.'s attitude in the gym ahead of the rematch, noting how Eubank trains so hard and carries a genuine intent for winning. McIntyre emphasized that unlike past camps, this time the preparation has full commitment and focus. Meanwhile, Benn enters motivated by redemption, aiming to reverse the narrative and prove his position as an elite fighter rather than a near miss.
Working with Chris Eubank Jr., you're with him for the rematch against Liam Smith. How did it come about, you coming back into camp with him for this one?
Well, while we was finishing up with Crawford, Chris's guys, they hit me up maybe a month out and asked me would I be, interested. I told them, of course, right away, because I felt like that me and Chris got a good repertoire together. We got a good relationship, and we come out with good results whenever we hook up.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, actually. What made you jump straight back into it? I asked Chris almost the same question about you, what it was that he wanted to work with you for. What is it about Chris that you particularly enjoy training or working with? Well,
one thing about Chris when it comes to boxing is he's definitely got dog in him. Even though he maybe got 2 or 3 losses, he fights to the nail. He fights to the end, tooth and nail. It's not hard to get him to do anything because it's always yes coach, yes coach, yes coach. Go in there and get in the day in the gym is wonderful because you ain't got to yell at him or nothing. We just go through what we need to go through, and we get the job done.
How much would you say your relationship with him has evolved from kind of working with him first time to now working with him for a second time?
I think it's beautiful now. He's talking a little bit more in camp, so that just makes it seem like he's a little bit more comfortable with us.
British middleweight contender Hamza Shiraz has expressed confidence in Conor Benn's chances against Chris Eubank Jr. in their rematch. Shiraz, who has shown interest in facing Eubank Jr. himself, believes that Benn's aggressive approach and high-pressure style could be the key to victory.
Won't get the better of Eubank?
I think Conor Benn beats Eubank, but I kind of need Eubank to win. Do you know what I mean? For myself, from a selfish perspective, I need him to win.
Did you want to fight him?
Yeah, exactly.
Would it be the first defence if you win that, or when you win that WBC title? Is that someone that you would choose?
100%, 100%. As long as obviously everyone's okay with it, it'd be that. I mean, why not? It'd be the biggest fight for me next in boxing, and I haven't got long left in the 160-pound division, so it's not me going on about taking certain defences. It's all about just fighting the big fight.
Dave Caldwell discussed the rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn on Talk Sport, providing a deep analysis of both fighters. While he acknowledged that Eubank Jr. should theoretically have the advantage due to his size, he also pointed out significant concerns that could favor Benn. Despite this, he emphasized that Benn's relentless pace and ability to land clean shots could be dangerous, especially if Eubank struggles with the weight cut. While Caldwell hesitated to make a final prediction, he suggested that Benn has a real chance, particularly if Eubank Jr. fatigues late in the fight. He concluded that if Eubank Jr. is not at his best, Benn could capitalize, making this a truly unpredictable.
Got a favourite. I think the bigger man should win, but the bigger man's he's not great himself. You know, when we talk about a good big and beats a good little, listen, you've got to remember, Eubank's not great. And in his last fight, I thought he looked old. It's the first time I've looked at him and I thought...
in Riyadh, I agree with you. He got caught.
Gareth, I thought he looked old.
Yeah.
I thought he looked old. Yeah. And if age is catching up on you, and listen, don't forget, his father has always banged on about him sparring heavyweights. When they were working together, and it was always talking about he spars heavyweights, he stands there as well. That shortens your lifespan in boxing. That has an effect. And if time has now come onto it, he's 35 years old. He's struggling to make the weight. Time comes onto you. You've got again, Benn might not be the biggest. Everybody makes that as always this huge puncher.
Eddie Hearn has pointed out that Conor Benn is at a significant disadvantage in this fight. He has to move up 2 weight divisions, which could heavily impact his performance. Fighters who move up in weight often struggle with adjusting to the additional power, endurance, and physicality of naturally bigger opponents. Benn will be facing Chris Eubank Jr., who is comfortable at this weight class, making it an uphill battle. Many boxing professionals view the fight as a mismatch due to the significant weight class differences between the two fighters. The concern centers around Benn moving up 2 weight divisions to face Eubank Jr., who has been competing at a higher weight class for most of his career. This leap raises questions about Benn's ability to handle the physical demands and power at the super middleweight level. The consensus is that size and weight advantages often play a crucial role in determining the outcome of a bout, potentially Junior.
When Kell Brook went up to fight Gennady Golovkin at middleweight, guess what? There was a hydration clause with the IBF, and Gennady Golovkin makes it absolutely easily, as will Chris Eubank. But it's just, that's our job, and no need to moan about it. If you didn't want to do it, you didn't have to have it in there. But they know it's not a big deal. But who is at the bigger disadvantage? Conor Benn, coming up 2 divisions. And Chris Eubank just weighs in what he always weighs in. You know, that whole, they're stripping him down to 160. It's his fucking weight. I don't understand. Stop listening to Simon Jordan.
It's a mismatch. It's an entertaining matchup.
Why is it a mismatch?
Because of ability, because of weight classes. Chris Jr. is a middleweight and a super middleweight. You know, he's naturally a super middleweight. So, he's having to starve himself to come down and, with all the catch weights and all of this stuff, it's a mismatch.
Okay.
He is operated at world level. He's been in with the likes of George Groves and, the list goes on. It's a mismatch in ability and weight class.
Spencer Finn, a respected boxing analyst, highlights the deep-rooted history between the Eubank and Benn families. He emphasizes that the rivalry, which began with their father's legendary bouts, adds a compelling narrative to the fight. Fear notes that this generational continuation has captured the public's imagination, making it a highly talked about fight. The historical context not only adds intrigue but also places additional pressure on both fighters to uphold their family legacies. The historical context not only adds intrigue but also places additional pressure on both